you can't really totally notate jazz, and so therefore you have to, for the score to look a little bit respectable on the page, then notes have to be written out in a certain way. But that's not necessarily how they need to be played.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Daniel Krenz from Music City Review, and today I'm speaking with Wayne Marshall, who is a pianist, an organist, and a conductor, and is coming to the Nashville Symphony in early March, March 7th, 8th, and 9th, to put on a fantastic program. So nice to speak with you today.
Good to be meeting you as well, my friend. Absolutely.
Yeah. So where are you located currently right now?
Now I'm in Seattle. It's raining and windy and stormy, and so not very nice after my trip to Los Angeles, which of course is nice and sunny and beautiful. But anyway, it's good to be here.
Yeah,
again.
good. Have you so you're coming to Nashville in about 2 weeks. Have you ever been to Nashville before?
No, my first time in Nashville, first time in Tennessee. So looking forward to it.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Well, I hope you enjoy
Yep.
it. I hope you have some time outside of the concerts and rehearsals to explore a little bit.
Yeah, do some shopping, and
Yeah.
hopefully the weather will be better than it is here. I tell you, it's not nice today.
Yeah, hopefully it will be.
Good, yeah, good. Okay.
When I first saw the Nashville Symphony announce their season, I was really intrigued by your program that I saw. This was one of the more interesting programs that I'd seen. I thought it was a fantastic combination of composers and styles. And as I was just doing my research, I realized that all of these composers, except for Bernstein, were born within 1 year of each other. They're all living and working at the same time. They're all having jazz influences, kind of straddling some classical jazz world. So I'm wondering, how did this program come about? What was the inception for it?
Well, you seem to have done your homework much better than I have. I didn't realize that all these. So I'm not so sort of into the details, but that's great research, my friend. That's great. No, I mean I wanted to put together a program which featured all of my different facets, basically, because I'm an organist, pianist, and I know that there's a wonderful organ in the hall. So of course, the piece to do really is to do the Poulenc organ concerto, which I can direct from the console.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always the initial challenge there. And it's a great piece because it's an iconic piece, the Poulenc organ concerto in many ways, and it's a great piece. And so yeah, why not? Why not put it together?
Sure.
With this. And then as a pianist, I play all the Gershwin piano works, for piano and orchestra. So I'm so used to directing them all. So to have the second Rhapsody as part of the program, I think is very good. I know that I think we were scheduled maybe, as I suggested, doing Rhapsody Blue because this year being the 100th anniversary of the first performance of Rhapsody Blue. So anyway, but the second Rhapsody is also a very, very interesting piece. It's more orchestral actually than Rhapsody, but it's a great piece and really shows off both soloist and orchestra. Then Duke Ellington. Well, of course, it's a great. He was a great composer, of course, and Harlem, I think, is one of his better orchestral works. He had a great influence. He had a great interest in classical music anyway, and so he wanted to put together a program which I think is put together music which I think would represented his own style, jazz, and incorporating that into a framework of big band and orchestra, and Harlem really works brilliantly. Actually, it's a very exciting piece, and of course it needs a trumpet player, of course, who can really reach up to the stratosphere as well.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that'll be all on the cards as well. And then the Bernstein's West Side Story. Well, what better piece can you have in a concert than that, really? A piece which I've known all my life, and the symphonic dances, I think represents the great musical so well, that this whole kaleidoscope of different numbers all put together. And it's a fantastic piece. I love every time I do it with any orchestra, it's always like I'm starting from the beginning, really. It's a challenging piece to play, and I think one has to take it outside the box a little bit and do things with it, because it's not a classical piece. This is the thing, and I hear many performances which sounds very classical, and that's not, for me, that's not what the piece is all about. If you see the film, then there's a lot of things that are in that give a lot of pointers towards how the piece really needs to go. So yeah, I mean, it's, as I said, it's challenging, but it's such an effective piece, and everybody knows the music of West Side Story as well, so it makes a very good concert piece.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking about the West Side Story, I know you do Gershwin and Bernstein all over the world with many different orchestras. So how do you approach orchestral players that are so immersed in Bach and Beethoven and everything, and try to draw out that jazz Bernstein style? Because it's a very unique style that I've heard some very classical performances of West Side Story as well, and it's a different sound world.
Well, it is, yeah. And the thing is that, I mean, I'm so familiar with the jazz world that, I mean, for me, it's not about playing the notes, it's about the feel. It's what I'm really rehearsing is the feel.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we talk about, jazz players will always talk about notes being long and short. That's how I talk to the orchestra. The same thing. It needs, no matter how it's written on the page, you can't really totally notate jazz. And so therefore you have to, for the score to look a little bit respectable on the page, then, notes have to be written out in a certain way. But that's not necessarily how they need to be played in terms of the length of notes. So more often than not, I'm always asking orchestral players to play them short. And then you might get some players who will say, well, how short? And I say, well, guys, just feel it, and so, they want to be so precise. Is it going to be a half note or an eighth note or a quarter note or a 32nd or 16th note? It's, you play it and you hear it, you feel it, and I mean, we all know what jazz is all about. I mean, we hear it all the time, so you just have to just get into it and really just feel it and get with it. That's what I say.
Yeah,
but it's fun. It's fun. I mean, it is challenging. I mean, as you said, it's very difficult when you have to deal with the orchestras who are maybe totally not immersed in this style. But as I say, all orchestras are immersed in it because we all listen to jazz subconsciously, maybe not necessarily switching on the radio and going, oh yeah, I'm listening to the jazz station now, or listen to funk, or whatever. But we the language of music is universal, and it has no boundaries, no borders. So it's accessible for everybody. So we all have it somewhere in our DNA.
Yeah, good, interesting. Yeah. And I think you'll find with the Nashville players, if I can brag on my own, the hometown orchestra here, a lot of them play in so many different styles, and you'll hear, I'm sure, wherever you're staying downtown, you'll hear the music coming from Broadway, which is just a lot of open air country bars playing different things. So there's a lot of musical genres mixed down here, and a lot of the players are.
Yeah.
So
Nashville is a lot of country music. Yes, it's a big country. See, I'm not a country music fan. I'm not a country fan at all. I have to say, I'm not. I'm not ashamed to say that, but it's not my kind of music. But I know that it's a big thing in Nashville, so, but I'm just looking forward to. Yeah.
Just about 2 blocks from the Schermerhorn Symphony Center, there's Broadway, where it's just bar after bar of country music playing, and so you'll have to maybe listen from a distance. But
yeah, I think so. It's not my thing, but it's not really, But anyway, I'm looking forward to being there. Excellent, my friend. That's great. Good.
I have one question about the organs. I know that if you're practicing on a piano, pianos are generally the same wherever you go, but organs can vary so widely and greatly. So how do you prepare for something like this when you won't even have touched the instrument until you sit down for the first rehearsal?
Well, no, I mean, every organ is different. There's no 2 organs are the same. So what I need to do is to practice, rehearse on the instrument before the first rehearsal. I'm not just going to go in there and play. So I will, when I arrive on Monday or whatever day it is, I get there Tuesday or whatever, Monday, I will practice in the evening, rehearse in the evening. And it's important to get to know the instrument. This is the fun thing about playing the organ, because as I said, you have to get to know, you have to acquaint yourself with it, you have to find out what it can do. I mean, of course, there is a basic kind of setup, but how that organ sounds in the room, how it behaves, you have to discover what it can and what it can't do. And so all these things you just have to, really work out and find out what it does. And that's what I love that challenge, actually. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you find yourself changing some of the registrations or things you might do based off what the instrument has or may not have, or like, does it vary greatly for you? Or
the question that you asked is perfect, because of course, as I said, no two organs are the same. So what might sound good on or right on the instrument I played last might not sound right on this instrument. Mm-hmm. So of course, the important thing for me is to make the particular instrument I'm playing sound the best it can there and then. And so I change whatever registrations I make it the piece to fit around it, and that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Marrying the two together just to make sure that the instrument really, sounds good.
I have a question about conducting from the keyboard for the Gershwin in particular. I know some of the scariest moments I've had as a conductor is working with the soloist. That's very tricky than just working with just the ensemble. So how do you how different is it when you are the soloist yourself? How is the rehearsal different? How's the performance different?
Well, for me, it's perfect because I'm in control of it. Sure. And so what I have to do then is to train the orchestra like a chamber ensemble. And there are certain things that they have to remember. But the most important thing is that the orchestra really has to become their own conductor. So they have to listen and they have to perform. Mm-hmm. I've done these Gershwin works so many times that it's always, for me, it's routine, but for them, of course, it's not. And some orchestras are more used to, having a conductor, and there are some that are definitely not used to having a conductor in front of them. But that, I always try to sort of tell them, well, look, guys, I said, you've got to start listening. You have to listen. The orchestra musicians have to listen. And, it's nice to have someone up there waving the stick, but when it comes to nobody being there, you've got to resort to something else. And you all have to become, and it's this collective of musicians who come together then, and they all have to be a large chamber ensemble. That's what it's all about. I mean, it should be like that when the conductor's standing up there as well. I mean, they should be hearing everything. It's about hearing everything and responding and just performing and doing it, just getting on with it. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah,
and knowing when it's right and when it's and just doing it. So a lot of rehearsing these bits that make sure I mean, the second Rhapsody has its own problems because a lot of difficult moments, a lot of difficult pickups. There's some towards the end of the piece. There's some tricky time changes and different tempi and things like this. So they just have to know how they go, and then it's fine.
Mm-hmm. And can you tell me a little bit about some of the differences between the Rhapsody in Blue, which I'm sure most audience members are very familiar with, and like you said, is the 150th anniversary, and then the second
the 100th.
Excuse me, yes, the 100th. And the second Rhapsody, who is very similar, very Gershwin in style. And I even read a quote that Gershwin said, from a viewpoint of form and orchestration, this is one of the finest pieces that he's ever written, which I think is very interesting, that the Rhapsody in Blue is the more popular one now. But
yeah, I mean, Rhapsody Blue, first of all, the initial concept for Rhapsody Blue, of course, was very different. I mean, because it was a kind of, first of all, the instrumentation is very different to the original. It's not the full symphony orchestra. That was arranged by Freddie Grofe. So that's a very different piece. And also, when Gershwin wrote Rhapsody in Blue, he hadn't written down those piano cadenzas that we all know. So the concert I always think about that first performance. It must have had an amazing energy because, the basic structure of it was there, but it wasn't totally all finished. So that's the thing. Now, Second Rhapsody, of course, was a piece that really started life as a music. It was actually music for a film being delicious. That's a film. And it's kind of like a New York Rhapsody. So this depiction of the rivets being driven into the huge skyscrapers and all the bridges and everything. It's repeated. That's all synonymous with the construction, the hammering of these rivets. And so that's a very, very you'll see that the thematic idea, which is a lot of repeated notes. You hear it all the time in the piece. So it's very different. It's very different. It's a wonderful piece, and I like it very much. And in a way, when I first got to know it, it was really Michael Tilson Thomas with the LA Phil, whose recording I first became aware of, and then I thought, this is really a great piece, because there are some recordings before that should have really just quite not there. It's all very too classical, but what he did with it was formed my kind of idea of the basis of it, because he was also the soloist and conductor in this.
Yeah, great. Well, I have just one last question for you, if you've got the time.
I'm waiting.
I know this is an impossible question, so I'd love to hear your answer.
Yes, it is. It is an impossible. Yeah, I can't give you an answer for it.
Well, out of all of the pieces, all of the music that you'll be performing here in just a week, do you have a favorite moment? Is there a favorite musical moment that you'd like to highlight for the audience, for them to particularly pay attention to? And I know that's a tough question.
It's a very difficult question, but there isn't one particular. I mean, I'm playing piano, organ, I'm conducting. We have different styles of music. We have, a lot of rhythm. We have a lot of wonderful romantic moments in it. We have a lot of dynamic range of sound. We have a huge variety of language in the pieces. Difficult for it's a single one. That's like asking me what's my favorite food, or what's my favorite composer, or questions I can't really answer really. So, but it's a good question though. But it's hard to pinpoint one moment. I mean, if I was conducting Mahler's Seventh Symphony, for instance, I would say that there's one moment in the first movement which is just sublime. This kind of chorale, like where there's a high. Was it? It's just an A flat. Yeah, but there's one moment which is just so serene, and everything stops, and then you get this. It's an A flat, isn't it? Yeah, top A flat. But that's, for me, is an amazing moment in that symphony. It's just fantastic when it comes. It's like, But it's hard for me to pinpoint a moment like that in these pieces. Not saying that it's. There's something not quite right. It's just that there's such great music. All the pieces are fantastic in their own way.
Yeah. Well, I'm tremendously excited for the concerts. I'm not sure which night I'll come, but I'll definitely be there for them. And thank you so much for taking the time to do this. And I'm really looking forward to having you in Nashville next week.
Looking forward to being there, my friend. Absolutely. Great, sir. Okay.
Well, Daniel, thanks so much for the time. Yeah.
No problem. It's been a pleasure. And looking forward to being there next week.
Me as well. Thank you so much.
Good man.
All right. Bye.
Thanks a lot. Ciao. See you. Bye.